to Abel & Cole, where inconvenience is a good thing.
G'day, and goodbye to Abel and Cole. We don't want to be doing any advertising on others' behalves, do we? Welcome, everybody, to title track night. Alrighty, things are coming in. Let me just grab that down. Interestingly enough, Boastart, one of your choices is actually on my list. So we shall see what happens there. We probably won't choose it twice. And Nicole's in some Stevie Wonder. Very nice. All right. I'll get those in a second. But before we do that, hello to everybody, especially Tracy for being up at 7 o'clock on a Sunday morning, which she says is not sparrow fart time, but it's earlier than I'd be up on a Sunday morning, apart from tomorrow morning, which is why I'm starting a bit early. Anyway, we've got Tracy, we've got Sean, we've got Boastart, we've got Evan David, we've got Nicole. It's all the best freaks are here, you might say, if you're doing a Marillion stream, but we're not. So, everybody's watching Transformers because of Evan David. See, I'm not the only one who influences people around here. Yeah, so if you haven't already, drop a request for a title track in the chat, and I'll add you to the list. More or less in the order they come in, or if you want a super chat, $25 million for a jump in the queue, then you can do that, but you don't got to. Meanwhile, let's start with my random list, because of course I've got one. What I did is I had 183 title tracks, and I've already culled them. I've done a best of 3 to get down to 61, and then of course we'll do the best of 3 from those. So it's going to be the best of the best title tracks, and of course for the most part I limited myself to one per artist, apart from a few special artists, and you can probably guess who those were. So let's have a random, no choice, first one for the night, chosen by iTunes and the randomness gods. And we're starting somber with volume is always helpful. Some Burton Cummings from Dream of a Child in 1978, the first album I have any memory of ever hearing when I was a toddler.
I was a boy, dreamed of Philip Marlowe, took me as his partner.
Hope all your weeks have been good.
Gave me his fedora, gave me shotgun fever.
If anybody's had anything more exciting happen to them than going viral is a stretch, but going big time by my wee little standards on the channel, thanks to Mr. Sean Holmes telling me to do Dimash.
Selling golden earrings to Mrs. Mickey Mantle.
Hey Raphael, welcome. I don't know what B means, but it's a great letter. Tracy voted covers. I suspect that Evan David voted for covers as well. Don't worry, folks. Just because something doesn't win the first time round doesn't mean we won't do it another time. And I have already pulled together a list of Beatles and Dylan covers that I own, and I have to say, Sean's theory that Beatles covers are abominations holds water when I look at some of the great artists who have absolutely destroyed great songs. And yes, I'm looking at you, Toto.
When I was a boy, dreamed I saved my sister.
Sean's saying he voted title tracks. Well, you're in luck. and you should probably pick one as a result of that, John.
I threw myself
You're right at least 1 out of every 5 times.
muttering that number
I think it might be as many as 2 out of 5, Sean.
where they least expected. In the name of God, dream of a child, the song of a man.
Sean's about to say 0 reason for anyone to ever play a Beatles cover. There's a time-tested musical rule. Well, there are 3 exceptions to that rule. But are they the exceptions that prove the rule? Who can say?
And the time are at his command.
Well, most are that as possibly one of those exceptions. Joe Cocker's Beatles cover. And I'm assuming everyone knows what it is, but if not, get your friends to help you out a little bit. Yeah, Nicole, it's been insane this week. I streamed last week, and at that point I had 555 subs, which I was happy with. And now I've got 930 odd. So, wow.
Brendan Lee loves me.
I must admit, I've never really liked the last 20 seconds of this, but not because it's bad, it's just the big swell always kind of creeped me out when I was a kid. But there we are. That's our first track of the night. But our first request of the night, and look what I've done. I've got it so that you can see iTunes and Spotify at all times, I hope. So if I swip and swatch between them, that's a new interesting phrase that I'm conjuring up for us there. Basically, you should be able to see what I'm playing at any point, hopefully, and I'm going to remember to unmute it as well, and we'll be rolling with Tracy's request, which is for a live rendition of John Farnham's Chain Reaction, which goes a bit like this. And I see in my use of Spotify is it's a new thing. I managed to add the whole ESP album to the playlist. We don't want all of that. My goodness me. All of High Civilization as well. Let me just quietly remove all these from the list and we'll carry on. Goodness, some long songs on High Civilization. Did the Bee Gees go prog? Thank you, Sean. We will have some Heroes action for you. Let's see if I can add it to the list without adding the entire album. I assume you want the full album version rather than the single version. Of course you do. You're not insane. Hi, Diver Scott. Yes, welcome. Yeah, title tracks of any album that has one, really. And feel free to drop one in the chat and we'll add it to the list and get you in there. I have a different John Farnham title track on my random list, so you'll see if that comes up at some point tonight. I mean, the odds are it won't, because yeah, we're not going to get through that many songs, basically. But who knows? That's the beauty of randomness. Well, thank you to Tracy for that, and thank you to John for being awesome. Now let's see if it rolls right into the next song, and it does. We'll play it, is what I was going to say. So this is a special request from Mr. Sean Holmes, who's just casually sitting back, drinking whatever he wants, eating whatever he wants, and chilling during the stream, which is a nice way to do it. Oh, Tracy, you never saw John live. Well, that's tragedy, which means that I'm the only one here who has, I assume. Of course, I only ever saw him as a support act. So what did I get? About an hour's worth each time. Which was great, but I could have handled a whole show, I won't lie. You both start saying that Heroes missed the top 20 first time round but managed to get there shortly after Bowie's death, which is why I didn't do it last year when I was doing songs that reached 24, because that was its initial peak, but it halved that and got to number 12.
Just for one day.
Evan David is bringing another Slay Top 10 to RTTC. Okay, I'll be up for that. I enjoyed the first one. I still haven't really dug any deeper with Slade, but as far as that era of glam goes, I think they're my they get my vote. A version by X Factor contestants went to number 1. Yeah, I bet it was great.
Like dolphins can swim. Though nothing will keep us together. We can beat them forever and ever.
Both like noting that Man in the Mirror and Purple Rain also charted higher after the artist's deaths on this side of the world, at least. Can I think of any others? Not off the top of my head, but I bet there are some. Tracy approves of the choice. Now, Sean, I know you, like me, are not really into the Berlin trilogy, so is this song an exception for you? Kind of is for me, but it's also Can I use the overrated word? I think I just did. Only in the context of great Bowie tunes, obviously. Oh yes, and Last Christmas is kind of a special case. Low start, yeah. Sean could have went for the easy pick a born to run. Well, nobody said that we are trying to decide what the greatest title track of all time is tonight, but doesn't mean you can't speculate on what that might be in the chat. I'm not going to join in. You know I don't like to rank things. Or feel incapable of it. Nicole's supporting the Berlin trilogy. I do like some tracks from that era, but compared to basically everything from Hunky Dory to Station, just not so much. Yeah, both start, and I'm guessing Jim Croce, in terms of America, had Time in the Bottle hit #1 after his death. So there's a few posthumous hits. Hendrix had Voodoo Child. That was a posthumous #1 in the UK, if my memory serves me correctly. Right, well, thanks again to Sean for giving us some lovely Bowie there. To see if we get some ads. Yes, we do. That's
Timothy
what we wanted.
Chalamet is Bob Dylan.
Which means it's the perfect time to come back over to my little list and for me to pick a song from these three options. Paul Simon, Still Crazy after all these years. I chose songs that have something to do with me in some way. In the Land of Grey and Pink from Caravan, or Do You Believe in Magic from The Lovin' Spoonful? Well, as Evan David hasn't, as far as I've seen, actually put a request in yet, I'm going to play this for Evan David, because I know he loves the spoons. He's all full of spoons. And it's only 2 minutes.
And it's magic if the music is groovy and makes you feel happy like an old-time movie. I'll tell you about the magic and to free your soul, but it's like trying to tell a stranger about a rock and roll. Believe in magic.
True on both points. Both start about voodoo and time in the book. As far as I know, anyway. Speaking of the Dylan movie, Nicole, I don't know if you've seen in the Facebook group, our man Bostart posted a link to an article about how hideously inaccurate it is. I haven't seen that before, so I will get that on the list as well. How was Bitter Man, Nicole? I'm thinking you didn't see my fleeting appearance as paparazzi in that. Nobody's mentioned it to me so far, which I assume means it didn't make the cut. first song Evan David ever requested on an RTTC stream. Wow. It is a song of history and legend in that case. So we are going to jump to, well, let's see if we can get, this is the thing with Spotify, is I never know if it will actually play 2 songs in a row, but if it does, let's try and get Bo Start's Bee Gees Battle up and running, starting with, from 1987, ESP, which of course was the follow-up single to You Win Again, which was their big comeback, at least in the UK. They didn't have the comeback in the States until One, a couple of years later. Yeah, Bo Start picking up from where I left off, mid-sentence with thought, as I so often do. The article said the Dylan film, a complete unknown, is still worth watching for how brilliantly Dylan, Baez and Seeger are portrayed. I think it's the usual thing with all those kinds of films, is the more you know about a person, the more obvious and annoying the inaccuracies, deliberate or otherwise, are. But if you can just concentrate on the story being told and the performances, as long as it's first rate, then you can kind of let that slide. I still can't fathom all the changes they made to Bohemian Rhapsody, though. That's beyond the pale. And Good Evening River, nice to have you in. Do chuck us the title track of Metallic Origin or any other Origin, and we'll add it to our list for the night. Yeah, Nicole, I've seen broadly positive comments, or certainly positive reviews about Better Man, but apparently it's bombed at the box office. But what that means in these days, I do not know. Yeah, most start saying Brian and Roger were cool with those changes. I somehow doubt that Freddie would have been, given that they were all about him for the most part. Speaking of Bostart, saying that he loves the a cappella intro for the song. This would have sounded great live. Notes that Barry and Robin are alternating on the vocals. Yeah, I tend to enjoy biopics when I don't know anything, so the Walk the Line, Johnny Cash was great for me, and whatever the Ray Charles one was, that's about it. Evan Davis saying, speaking of Dylan, there was a DVD of Don't Look Back documentary in his local record shop. I do not know if I've seen that or not, Evan David. I have a vague idea that I might have done, but in my old age, I am increasingly basically clueless on most things. And listen out for the guitar solos from Rabbit Beach related John Whitesnake. Was he in Winger as well at some point, or am I making that up? Or could be confused with somebody else? And don't forget, kids, this is hopefully a battle, so keep your ears open for whether you prefer this or the next one, which will, fingers crossed, follow right on. So, not that I can vote in these polls, but I would be torn between the two biases, recency bias for the next track, because we'll hear it more recently, and the other bias where you know a song, which this one ticks that box for me. Fascinating, I know. High on fires cometh the storm. I'm not sure which of those parts of the band and which is the title, so I'm going to chop them both down and get them. Oh, look, we've got an advert. Well, let's just play it through. We like ads. It probably won't be too long before we get to
and paired with barbecue
the
sauce.
next Bee Gees number. You can't vote for the advert as your favourite. It's either of the Bee Gees tunes, okay? I'm going to be a stickler for that.
What kind of weekend are you
Familiarity
in the mood for?
bias. Thank you,
Well,
Adelaide. I knew
with
somebody
Disney
would
Plus,
tell me
anything
that.
is possible. Whether that be a journey back to feudal Japan with 4-time Golden Globe winner Shogun, 2 days of twists and turns with Only Murders in the Building, or drama and fine dining with
So
The
this has
Bear.
been a good experiment.
January weekends
It's,
just got better with Disney Plus.
Will tell me that we
Banner to
won't
learn
have
more. 18 plus subscription required. Learn
battles
more
from
at
Spotify in the
disneyplus.com.
future because they're annoying. You know, it's only a brief diversion. Here we are with part 2 of the Bee Gees battle. High Civilization from, I believe, 1991. So, after this, I will go back to my list for one, and then I have got Nicole's Stevie Wonder request lined up. I'll pop in Rivers requests along the way, and we've also got the Birds that Evan David queued up for a little while. In between some more randomness from the greatness that is my library and my list, of course. Funny thing, I've only just thought of this, Nicole. If they played music as part of the ad and I wasn't really paying attention, that can sometimes get the replay blocked, because I did a recorded reaction where I was using Spotify and just left the ads in, and I always throw it up, the raw file, as a test before I edit it to make sure that it's actually going to be worth it and I won't have to put it on Vimeo and beg Sean to put it up for me. So hopefully that doesn't happen, because it would be annoying to have to chop the stream down in any shape or form, because that means, for those who are watching on replay, that the live chat goes with it. And I know when I watch Trey or Sean's replays that it's much better when you can actually follow along what the heck people are talking about. And you like my random bits? Well, I'm glad. Yeah, I know, Nicole. You'd think that they would, having licensed it for an advert, that they wouldn't think that they could get anything from it from a YouTube live stream or video, but there you go. They start saying Robin on lead vocals here, and ironically it was Barry who wanted this as the single, and Robin vetoed it in favour of Secret Love. So is this the album that Ordinary Lives is from? Because that's one that I knew but I haven't heard in a long time. Yeah, Nicole, the chat, for a start, it doesn't come up until about not quite 24 hours after it's gone live. And then it can disappear again if you have to alter any of the content afterwards. Or if you just do it by mistake, like I did the first time around because I didn't know what I was doing. Okay, Ordinary Lives is on 1. Alright. Yeah, we Ordinary Lives closed out the best of the Bee Gees, which was the first Bee Gees we ever owned, apart from the Night Fever 45. And it's one I remember fondly, but haven't heard, because we had that on cassette, so I haven't heard that in 30 years, if not more. Right, we're nearing the end there, so I should probably create a poll, if I remember how to do that. Hopefully. That poll is now live, and they might have spelt civilization with a Z, but I'm not going to be that crazy. My goodness me. Who do they think they are? All right. So, back to me. You can't go too long without hearing something that's on my list. Right now, you see my first option is A Fever Dream from Everything Everything, and that is one of 2 songs on my list that I've never heard before, because their 2024 album was one of my favourites, but it was my first from them, so I've gone back and picked up another one very recently and not actually heard it yet. Next choice is In the House of Stone and Light from Martin Page, or Mind Games from John Lennon. Well, I'm going to have to go Martin Page. You recall which stream was it? My random 25 plays stream when we kicked off the year. That I did a random foreplay to this album last year, and Martin very kindly reached out and thanked me immensely for the video. So I'm still very, very touched by that. And links to last week, people. We've got Jimmy Copley on drums, who was, of course, briefly a member of Magnum. And in fact, Martin at one point put up the isolated drum track for the song on his Facebook page, which was tasty. Martin's got a new album out in March, I think. Kicked off by visiting Jimmy in hospital when he was very ill. I'm not sure how long ago it is now, but Jimmy passed away from leukemia a few years ago. But yeah, he was very happy to have Pagey come in and get him to be creative one last time, so it's going to be an emotional one when that drops. Ordinary Lives isn't on streaming, so is that? I'm not sure where the Bee Gees went in terms of jumping about with labels in the 80s. We've also got Robbie Robertson on guitar on this track. Martin, of course, wrote Fallen Angel for Robbie on his debut album, which I've only just picked up recently, which is an amazing album if you haven't heard it. He wrote some other songs with Robbie as well. First, I was just asking Nicole. She was saying Ordinary Lives isn't on streaming, where she is at least. She says the rest of the one album is there, just not that song, which seems bizarre to me, but is one of the reasons I don't rely on streaming. I live for my actual copies of actual albums. So as we discussed last time, I played some Martin Page. He's most famous for writing hits for other people like We Built the City and These Dreams for Heart and a Go West track or two and various others. But he managed to be a one-hit wonder in his own right with this one, which was number 14 in the US, but also topped the AC charts there. And I remember hearing it on New Zealand radio briefly in the 90s, and well, I bought the album and I've loved it for 31 years now. Thank you, Martin, and thank you, Nicole, for our next track, which is from the album My Chérie Amour. Can you guess what the song is? Yeah, of course you can, because it's title track 9. Yeah, that's right, Tracy. It's not just this Kiwi that you had to put up with in these streams most weeks. What can I say? I love that I've got my ladies from the future seeing us through from your Sunday morning back into the dim, distant past of our Saturday nights here. Yeah, Tracy, everybody's making great choices tonight. No surprises there, of course. So, after this, we'll pop over to see what else I can bring you from my list. And then we will have River's tune, which is, I'm assuming, going to be new to everybody apart from River himself. Who's Who? I don't even know. I didn't assume these things. It's terrible.
Maybe someday you'll see my face among the crowd. Maybe someday I'll
Well,
say
ESP is running away with that battle, but do get in a vote if you haven't already.
oh, Shady, oh, pretty little one that
They'll start telling us that this was #4 in both the UK and the US, written with Motown stalwarts Henry Cosby and Sylvia Moy. Henry Cosby later produced a Blood, Sweat and Tears album, which is not... I guess it's got links to Motown. All right. As we've said, excellent choice. Thank you, Nicole. But what's my next one going to be? Well, let us see. It wasn't going to be that. My three are Man of Colours from Icehouse, some Aussie action, North and South from Jerry Rafferty, or Redesign from Ryan McMullen. Well, let's get us bang up to date with the Irish singer-songwriter that I first saw open for Foy Vance a bunch of years ago, and finally got his full-length debut album out last year. This is quite obviously the title track, Redesign.
to sugarcoat would be an insult to both you and I, so I just won't. It's redesign.
Oh, that's
Return to form.
Dreadnought's song on the list as well.
You and I
River for
against the rest.
a little later.
Oh, we laid it all out and we traded blows, but we shake hands knowing we're always gonna grow old.
Oh, Tracy, you're in a heat wave. My favourite. I get too hot if it's 18 degrees Celsius, personally.
This is not an attack. This is just part of the act. The curtain call,
Well,
but there's still time
we
before it close. Let's go out and give them.
can attempt that.
Oh, we lay
Possibly with an advert in between, who knows?
and we traded blows, but we shake hands knowing we're always gonna grow old together. We're always gonna grow old together. We're always gonna grow old together.
Not planning to go super late tonight, gang, because I do have to be up and out the door at, what, 6:45, I think, tomorrow, so... But I'm complaining because it means I'm working, which is nice.
Have some wine, but not too much. You can't drive unless you plan to stay the night, and we'll stay up talking about how we laid it all out and we traded.
Tracy, I'm melting just looking at your temperatures. I mean, my brother's in Adelaide, so sometimes he'll send me a screenshot just so that he can get me to faint in public if I happen to be out and about whenever he sends it to me, of his weather app. Because he's nice like that. And, Tracy and Nicole, throw us another one each in your into the list as well, and we shall get those. I mean, keep them as good as we've had so far, obviously.
We're always gonna grow
All right. You've seen what was next on my. Well, I'm not going to choose ESP for my next choice when I come back to me. But what we are going to hear is High on Fire with Cometh the Storm. I think River said this was from last year. Yeah, indeed, 2024. So that's two 2024 tracks in a row because this is where up-to-dateness happens. I don't think ESP is in any danger of being overtaken, so I'm going to end that poll with a resounding victory to ESP. And as I say, just because it won the poll doesn't mean we're going to hear it twice, just because it's happened to come up on my list as well. Watch your Tracy, thank you. Weird things happening on my screen, so if I disappear, I seem to be alright, but alrighty, cool, yeah, I will get that in. Gosh. River is saying that this album was incredibly highly rated by a large number of metal sites, and he's got to agree. Really delivered with this album was in the top 20 albums for last year. Which reminds me, I still haven't watched Sean's video of your top 10 albums of last year, so was it only top 20, not top 10? So is this pretty typical of the album, River? I mean, I know you obviously could only choose the one track from it given the theme for tonight, but how does this rank alongside the rest of the tracks? It didn't crack the top 10, but gets close. Oh, Tracy, happy birthday in advance. And you've probably never been happier to get to another birthday after your recent experiences, I'm guessing. Oh, Sean's just popped back from working on that other channel, I'm guessing. I think this is sounding great, but I expect that this album would be beyond the JSB scale of heaviness, which, as we know, is not very heavy at all, because I'm a big lightweight. It's a good representation of the album. Driving drums, very sludgy, dark and moody. A fun album. The sludge and darkness is fun. Yes, it is. Well, I'm very glad that you are, Tracy. I'm sure you are too. Alright. The storm has cometh from high on fire. Thank you to River for bringing the metal for us tonight. And now for something completely different. I don't know what it will be, but it will be from my list, so it's so I'm just going to make it a choice of two, I guess, because my first choice would be ESP by the Bee Gees. I don't think I want to hear that tonight. I don't know why that's why that would be the case. Yeah. So we've got Highway 61 Revisited from Bob Dylan, or Isolation from Toto. Now, who's the better artist, Bob Dylan or Toto? Yeah, it's Toto. Right, here we go. Which gives me the opportunity to say that I'm fairly unlikely to stream next weekend, but I won't rule anything out. If I do, I'll just do a general anything goes kind of thing, and then the week after that it will be an all Toto stream ahead of me seeing them for probably the last time, I'm going to guess, at Wembley the first week of February. This is the title track from my favourite Toto album, the only one with Fergie Frederiksen on vocals, and Fergie's vocals are largely the reason it's my favourite Toto album. What can I say? It's really lucky that Bostart brought ESP independently, because I would have felt bad skipping past it just to cater to my own precious tastes. But I still would have done. You better believe it. And after we're done here, we'll go to a nice, quick 60s-ish battle for Ever David between the Birds and the Kings. Nicole's too. So she knew I would do a Toto stream. Well, Nicole, if I can ever be predictable, then I will be. Yeah, Sabaton is probably another band I need to listen to properly, especially given the historical lyrics and everything that is my cup of tea, as we know. Fahrenheit was a good album, Nicole. I know that's one I recommended to you after you asked me for suggestions. That was based on what you said you'd liked, and was actually one of my least favourite Toto albums personally. But I'm glad you liked it. I mean, I like it, but it's softy Toto, which is my least favourite flavour. I like me some rockin' Toto, and sadly not enough people realise that that's even a thing. But it's what they do more often than not. Bostart, as resident pun master, saying he wasn't so hot on Fahrenheit, and that he's played this album a few times but never this track in isolation. I don't know, I just get jealous when people are even funnier than me. It's just not on. Alright, some beautiful Toto action there, and now once again for something completely different, it's battle time, hopefully without the interruption of an ad in between, but who knows, starting with the Byrds, Mr. Tambourine Man. And I just skipped over Mr. Dylan, but here's a Dylan cover that we might have heard if we'd gone with the Beatles and Dylan covers thing for the night. So obviously some songs transcend all the different categories of possible stream themes. Well, I hope you can make it too, Nicole, whenever. It's probably a couple of weeks away, but if you're unfortunate enough to miss it, you can always catch up after the fact, which is not as good, but it's still good. And I do get surprisingly good replay views on streams, but the specific artist streams do really well, so Magnum's hit over 200 views now, I think, which for a relatively small band is pretty damn good going, I thought. Oh, Bostart, it's difficult to be such an inspiration in people's lives. I don't know how I maintain it. Gracie's asking if anyone knows if Brian May's had another stroke. It's just flashed up on the newsreel. I wasn't aware he'd had a first stroke, so I'm clearly behind the times. Bostart noting, apart from Jim McGuinn, before he became Roger, none of the Byrds are actually played on here, though they're doing the harmonies. So yeah, I can hear some crows on there. All right, so this is a battle. Are we going to hear the second song of the battle? Yes, we are. Here we go. This is The Kings, the Village Green Preservation Society. And speaking of the Kings, I have been thinking, it's not something I do often, but occasionally I will have a think. And as we've already worked out, streams run much more smoothly when I'm just playing off my own library. So get around the fact that I don't own everything. I thought one of these weeks we might do something like, for example, I've got a double CD Best of the Kinks and I've got a double CD Best of the Who, and maybe have a Kinks and Who night just playing off tracks from those two compilations. In the standard best of three fashion, of course, but probably give some opportunities for individual choices and polls and that kind of thing. It's just a thought, but it's, you know, floating around up there. If anybody else can think of any combinations like that. I've also thought of doing America and Seals and Crofts as a kind of 70s softy kind of hearing. Not that I don't own everything by those bands, but I don't know that a dedicated stream to either would excite as many people as they ought to. Let's put it that way. I heard earlier today that Brian was doing well and Wake of the first one straight from Anita. I didn't realise that you had a direct line from Mrs. Flood herself, Bowstar. Okay. Some people saying Kinks and Who sounds like a good plan. Well, I thought it was a good idea, otherwise I wouldn't have had it. And now I'm shortling at my own jokes, which is unforgivable. I don't know how I would vote in this battle. Again, I'm much more familiar with the Byrds, but I'm a bigger fan of the Kinks. So, stay tuned because I will get that poll up in a second, but what I will do first is choose the next song from my little list. And my choices will be comprised of, speaking of Mr. Crosby, Sky Trails by David Crosby, Shadows from Gordon Lightfoot, or 2020 from George Benson. Well, I think somebody who will have a dedicated stream at some point on the channel is Mr. Lightfoot. This is one of 2 Lightfoot tunes on my list for tonight. And now let's get that poll
Let me
going.
reach out, love and touch you. Let me hold you for a while. I've been all around the world. Oh, how I long to see you smile. There's a shadow on the moon and the waters here below do not shine the way they should.
This is, of course,
And I love you just in case you didn't.
a choice between those 2 songs. We're not voting between the 2 bands here, but so the Byrds, Mr. Tambourine Man,
Let it happen.
Tambourine Man,
Before.
and the Kinks, Village Green Preservation Society.
It's a wicked wind and it chills me to the bone. And if you do not believe me, come and gaze upon the shadow at your door. Won't you lie down by me, baby? Run your fingers through my hands. I've been all around.
Sean saying he did a review of that whole album for
Reverend
David, which I'm pretty sure means that I've heard it because I would have watched that.
The shadow of a dream. Is it wrong to be in love? Could it be the finest love I've ever seen? Set it free. Let it happen like it happened once before. It's a wicked wind and it chills me.
Speaking, as we have multiple times, of Mr. Bob Dylan, this is one of the Lightfoot tunes that he was prone to covering in concert for a while. Don't know if he ever recorded it. He should have done. He would have done badly, so.
Please kiss me gently, darling.
After Gordon, we'll move to Tracy's request for
springtime on a blue and windy day. When
some
there's
old
beauty
chisel action.
all around, as the shades of night grow deep, as the morning stars grow dim, they will find us in the shadows fast asleep. Let it go.
And Sean, if you're around in the chat, to drop another song. If we don't get taken down, we'll get it
It's a
played.
wicked wind and it chills me to the bone. And if you do not believe me, come and gaze upon the shadow at your door.
Tonight, folks, if we do go down, I probably won't come back up because I've got to be attempting to sleep and leave early tomorrow and all that excusey stuff. But until such time as we're worried about that, we won't. Yeah, that's a top 5 Gordon Lightfoot album for me. And this is a top 5 Cold Chisel album for Tracy, I'm going to guess. Breakfast at Sweethearts. Nicole is a sweetheart. Does that mean we're having breakfast at hers now? I guess we could be. I mean, whereas it's a bit late for breakfast. It's more like brunch and NZ, isn't it, Nicole? Who's also saying that Culture's Law over in NZ at the moment, playing a music festival near Queenstown. Nice. I think I had a vague notion that they were... Oh, I don't know. I'm just saying, Nicole, if we go down, I don't know when. I mean, we managed the full 2 hours last week without any problem, so it just depends on if anything gets flagged from early on and busts us. Rivers off to sea. Master Boot record. Wow. Pub and bowling alley. That's quite the venue. Yeah, Boaster, I know at the time of release, I think Gordon had a lot of faith in the album and was a little surprised at how ignored it was by the wider public. I think it was quite disheartening. And then, of course, it only dropped off even further from there. So, as I'm sure you know, he pretty much thought he was going to stop making new music in the late 80s, but of course did renege on that a few more times, thankfully.
She don't smile or flirt. She just wears that mini skirt. Drunks come in.
Well, we hope it will be ready and waiting for us, Nicole, and fresh and warm. Yeah, well, it depends on what you're serving, of course. I don't want warm smoked salmon. Yeah, maybe. I might be back in NZ next year. My mum was supposed to be coming over to see us this year, but the physiotherapist has basically told her that if she goes on a long flight, her risk of getting a DVT is pretty high, and I don't think any of us want that, so hoping they can sort her out so that she can actually travel the stupidly long distance it is between these sides of the world. Because I need mummy hugs, because I'm just a big mummy's boy. It's the truth. The great Jimmy Barnes on vocals here, of course. Now he's someone that, despite the fact that he seemed to tour in New Zealand every 6 weeks when I was growing up, I never have seen live. And Boaster, I bet you're glad that he didn't end his career on East of Midnight, given your thoughts on that particular release. All right. Thank you to Tracy for that. We'll jump back into the Dreadnoughts for River. Actually, let's just carry on since we've managed to avoid ads. And since River may have to head off.
My name is Whale and Johnny. Way, hey, Johnny Boring at Cordova and Carroll was formed in the marrow of whiskey and amphetamine.
Yes, I mean, she's generally good. Tracy, she had both knees replaced last year, but she's got other issues dating back to previous operations for other things. I mean, if there's one thing we have in common, it's an inability to have an operation go smoothly. Which is why I pretty much sworn off ever. Well, I mean, I guess I had something removed, but that wasn't quite an operation. Anyway, we have to put up with things, but doesn't everybody? Oh, I disagree, Bostart. God's Goal 2, I think, is the one stinker in the catalogue there. I think the remakes are weak. The production is poor, and he sounds like he's singing underwater. Evan David, I was last back in 2023, so only just over 18 months ago, but time always feels longer than it really is when you're... Of course, I was only supposed to be here for 2 years, and I'm coming up to 15, so Mum says she knew I was never coming back, but I honestly didn't. This is only different from what we've heard already, but also very different from River's earlier contributions. So, the Dreadnoughts, yet another group that I need to do some listening to at some point. Who knows when we have time to fit all this music listening in? Well, that's very kind of you to say so, Evan Dude. Shucks, gee whiz, and all that stuff. Alright, thank you to River for the Dreadnoughts there. Victory Square from the album Victory Square. Now, I believe that was George was my third option of the previous three, so my next three got Behind the Mask from Fleetwood Mac, a slightly interesting choice on the list. Lord Lightfoot, Summer Side of Life. I told you that some people had two or more that had made the cull to my list. Or Goodbye Yellow Brick Road from Elton John. Well, you know what? Because I had Kiss the Bride up on the channel earlier this week, 80s Elton, let's give us a wee bit of 70s Elton, given that I have honestly very little Elton in my collection. As whilst I like him, I'm yet to meet an Elton John album that I can really wholeheartedly say I love from start to finish. Is that a hot take? Or just a lukewarm one? Thanks for the options there, River. I'll make a note of that. Polka's Not Dead. Anyone else who wants to check out the Dreadnoughts, River is saying that Polka's Not Dead, Green Willow or Foreign Skies are excellent options as starting points. Oh, Nicole, do you want to share which of the almost 5 out of 5s for you in the Alton catalogue? I mean, a lot of people would say this one, but I had to concur with Mr. Sean Holmes, who, of course, did a full review of it with Mackenzie some years back, and rated it as yet another double album that maybe didn't need to be one. But Bo starts saying that it's a great album in his book. Only has a view that one is great, really diverse, and the Eightfold pictures aren't bad either. And that's the thing with double albums. Diversity can make them more attractive to some people, whereas others will say, well, I could ditch these 4 songs quite happily. So I don't know if there's a definitive answer to any of these things. Does there need to be? Probably not. After Alton, we will move to Dire Straits for Nicole. And oh, I always forget that that's such a short song. So, having said that, we would move to Dire Straits for Nicole. Let's move to Dire Straits for Nicole. Brothers in Arms, of course, from the first album to ever sell 1 million copies on the CD format, if I'm not mistaken. And I did have Lady Writer up, well, I still do in fact, as part of my Bottom 60 series. So that went up on Monday with a live version of that track from the 79 Rock Palace performance, which had gone down quite well until Dimash came along midweek and took over my channel with all his dears, who were delightful, I have to say.
These mist-covered mountains.
Okay, Nicole, so Goodbye Yellow Brick Road is one for you, and Honky Chateau. Yeah, I think Honky Chateau is probably the closest one gets for me. Ah, well, Nicole, you actually missed that People Watching was, from Sam Fender, was my intro setup song for the night, so we shall see if I decide to end with Sam as well. It's possible. I start saying never quite saw what all the fuss was about this album, but the title track is great for sure. Yeah, for those who haven't seen my Lady Writer video, I'll spoil it for you by saying I related a fascinating story where I talked about a conversation at work in one of my former lives where I said I really prefer the early Dire Straits, and my work colleague said, "Oh yeah, I totally agree with you. What's that album with the blue album cover?" And I thought, well, given that we've just said we both like the early albums, I guess you mean Communique. But no. He meant Brothers in Arms, that famous early Dire Straits album. I don't know what he thought later Dire Straits was. Now, Jaffy's even heard of On Every Street. But that's why we talk with musically minded people, not plebs. I'm considering doing something for this album later in the year for its 40th anniversary, but I haven't quite decided if it will work in the random 4-play format, because this, you know, I own this album on vinyl and cassette. I never owned the CD. I prefer the vinyl because there's at least 3 songs on there that are maybe 4 songs. Just about everything on side 1, apart from Walk of Life, is significantly shorter than the CD and cassette versions, and to their benefit, I think. So if I had the vinyl edits easily available, I might do it that way, but I don't, so probably won't. Another great story from JSB there. You're welcome. This is why you keep coming back.
Now the sun's gone to hell. The moon's riding high. Let me bid you farewell.
So I was saying, making movies and Love Over Gold will be her Dire Straits faves. Yeah, making movies is number 1 for me by quite a distance, and then the other 3 of the first 4, and then Brothers in Arms, and then On Every Street last. But to be fair to On Every Street, I have not played that, or haven't even owned it for a very long time. So I probably could do with revisiting. And of course Chip Porcaro's all over it, so I knew that at the time, and it still wasn't enough to make me keep it, so that says a lot. But I start saying the debut Love Over Gold and On Every Street, so On Every Street has some fans. But yeah, I think the consensus is, whatever we think of this album as a whole, and I still like it, for the most part, that this is a great track. So thank you, Nicole, for your I mean, thank goodness the album wasn't called Money for Nothing. Just then we'd be listening to that. And that's one Dire Straits song I just cannot cope with anymore. Well, thanks everybody for coming in tonight and looking some great title tracks from some great albums, and even from some albums that we're maybe not 100% keen on, but still have great title tracks. I'm going to play one more song from my list to end us on for the night, and what that might be, who can say? Do I limit myself to the first 3 tracks? Or do I just keep looking until I find one I really, really want to play? I can do that, you know, because I can break rules. So let's have a looky. Obviously we know option 1 of how many is 17 Going Under from Sam Fender. But if you want to see me, speaking of title tracks, there's a great song war on the channel. My channel, this is, not that other one that people talk about, where I battle or war 17 Going Under versus Hypersonic Missiles. So you can go and check that out afterwards. Dreams of Ordinary Men from Dragon, or Breakfast in America from Supertramp. Well, let's head to 1986. And for those who were in with my Magnum stream last week, this is dissimilar from when Magnum were told to go to LA and make an album with Keith Olsen producing. They went to New York and made an album with Todd Rundgren producing. And Lord knows how much that cost them. And then they toured in Europe with Tina Turner. And the record company said, Dragon sounds too much like a heavy metal band. So because the band is led by the Hunter brothers, they said, fine, we'll just call ourselves Hunter. And then they got to Germany and they said, oh, Hunter. Heavy metal band, yeah? So this is why record companies are idiots. Most out, what was your fave that I skipped? You've heard some good ones tonight, though. So, just for the curious, had I gone all night? Okay, Boast, we might manage one more song if you want to choose between the next three, because the next three on my list were Dixie Chicken from Little Feat, Together Alone from Crowded House, and the one you definitely won't have chosen, Steve Perry for The Love of Strange Medicine. So, if we can stretch to one more and you want to pick between Crowded House and Little Feat for us, then go for it. Well, I hope that will make up for me skipping over Behind the Mask, which I do really like, otherwise it wouldn't have been on the list, obviously. But yeah, let's end with a double dose of Kiwi bands that the Australians claim are theirs. Hey, Tracy. Alrighty. And as most notes, this is the perfect ending because this, of course, ended what for me is far and away the finest Crowded House album by a distance. Nicole, I do like Dragon's albums, but a good compilation is probably all you really need, although Ozambezi is a good album. Actually, they're all good. Ignore me, listen to them all. You decide whether you want. I mean, obviously you only listen to the ones with Mark Hunter on. The recent albums are not even to be mentioned as far as I'm concerned. They all seem they're in both countries' Music Hall of Fame. Yeah. I do like what Mark Hunter said, because I can kind of relate to it. He basically said New Zealand couldn't feed us, so we left. Can't really argue with that. Ending the poll from earlier, the Kinks won the Kinks versus Birds battle. Evan, David, how did you vote on that? Because I know you said that you had a clear favourite going in. Oh wow, so I just gave you a very hard choice between those two title tracks here. Both great. Oh, I loved Count Duckula. I love Danger Mouse as well, but I like Count Duckula more. Well, it doesn't look like we're making it, folks. I'll play the song out just for my own benefit, and in case it makes it to the end on the replay. So we obviously timed it pretty much perfectly anyway. And for anybody who is still listening, Evan David went for the Birds, and he wants Mr. Tambourine Man played at his funeral. Hey, live replay. Are you still here? I don't know how this works, but in any case, that was the very end of the stream, and it really, really is now. Thanks for watching, and